This is video number 2 in the Oops series of videos. We had created our box class and we have 2 constructors at the minute, and whenever we're creating something of type box like we are here, displaying it there like we are here, we can now pass in a value. So I'll just change the way I've declared this one here so it's the same as the one below. So I'll just go straight for creating it and passing the value at the same time. So there's my 2 boxes, and one of the things I would like to do is keep all these here as being private. So if I take the public keyword out of there, you see that I get a problem here where I can't access length anymore. You can see it says there, box lengths inaccessible due to its protection level. So what we can do though is I can create another public method that will return that length for me, so I just want to display it. So again, it has to be public because I'm going to access it from outside. It's going to give me information back of type int, so I give it a type, and I will call it get underscore length. So because it's got a type here now, I need the return keyword to send information back to again, and the information I want to send back is length. Length is private. Get length, the method here, is in the same class, so it has access to it. Okay, so here now, instead of saying match dot length, I would say match dot get length, and the same for cigar. So running that, as you'll see, it's just the same as before, but now I can access a private variable. I might want to change the value, let's say of length. So at the minute I can read it, which basically makes it a read-only property. Now if I wanted to change it, I could write another public property. So I could say that public, let's say set set length. It doesn't need a type because I'm not sending anything back, but I do need to pass some information onto it. Alright, so I'll just use the same variable name as what I used up here. Okay, so I'm passing in an integer, and just like I did here, I can set length, which I do have access to, equal to underscore length, which means I could say cigar dot set length, and then inside the brackets, let's say I set it to 4. So that's going to call cigars set length method, passing 4 on. So by the time I get to print it out here, right, it will be 4, right, and not 16. So the matchbox was 99, cigar box is 4. If I cut that from there, let's see, put it after I do the output line, and then do the output line again. Push it to the side there. So you can see that the cigar box length is 16 because that's what it was when we started. So by the time we print it out here, we then called the set length method, changed it to 4, and so whenever we print it out here, it had the value 4. Now, generally you wouldn't do them like that anymore, unless you just wanted a private property. You might just have like a get length. Instead of creating separate get length and set length, I would create what's called a public property. So it must be public because we're going to access it from outside. It's a property that's representing something of type int, and I'll call it the underscore length. So public int the length. It needs a get routine, right, and it also needs a set routine. But if we do the get routine first of all, what do we want to do? We want to return length, and for a set routine I want to set length equal to something, just like it did down here. So I set length equal to, right, now in this case here there's a built-in variable called value, and value will take on whatever we assign to the length. So instead of having those two methods, we now have this one public property. So we'll just get rid of both of those and see what difference it's made to what we've got up here. So instead of get length, I can just say the length. So I don't reference it like I do a normal method. It's just dot the length, and it'll be the same for those other two. So there and there, and here I would just say cigar dot the length equals 4. So essentially I could just use the length as like a public, as if that there was a public property. So running that now, okay, it'll work just as before. So 99, 16, 4. And this is where you're probably saying, well, what's the difference in putting the public keyword in front of that whenever I now have the power to do whatever I want using the public property? Well, the value in this here is when it comes to the set part. So let's say that we decided that the value could only be a number between 18 and 65. Well, what I could do here now, inside the set command, I could say if, let's say if value is, let's say less than or equal to 18, let's see, or value is greater than 65, so just make that less than 18. So it's less than 18 or greater than 65. What I'm going to do, well, I'm going to say length is equal to, so I'll just default it to 0. Alright, because that's out of my range. Else, I'm going to accept it and set it equal to value. So what that means there now, I've got 99 for Matchbox. Right, that's out of my range. That's out of my range. So let's see what happens when we run it. So we have 99, 16, but the gearbox here now is 0. And it's 0 because 4 didn't meet with my criteria down here. The other two values were acceptable because they were done on the constructor. So in that case, I would really need to have some validation inside the constructor as well. So just to see that it's actually working then, 44 is between 18 and 65, so it should accept 44, and it does. So we now have a public property set up with some validation and all in it, right, for this internal variable called length, and the user doesn't get to put in whatever they want into it now, right? We're trapping values. And we'll just end that video for here, and next video 3 we'll move on from this.